I'm Cash, and welcome back to Cash Talks Football, where today we're breaking down the train wreck that's going to be the England national team leading up to their World Cup debacle. It's going to be hilarious watching this team make excuses every week to why they're terrible at the footballs. But I'm going to give you a bit of an insight and a breakdown with over my 20 plus years and start showing you that these players just aren't very good. The manager really doesn't have a clue how to play them. And it's one of those things when you say, well, England don't have good players. And you go, yeah, but look, this player's good and this player's good. Yeah. When you look at those certain players, from the high level, you go, oh, yeah, Saka's great at Arsenal, but he's not the one that makes Arsenal tick. Is he the one that finishes off the goals? Yeah, he does. But are Arsenal worse without him? Yeah. But there's lots more to it than just having like Phil Foden, who's not really very good for Man City, or Jack Grealish, or a Harry Kane. And you know all these names, but they're not really good footballers anymore. And Kyle Walker, they're just not good footballers. And time meets up with players. And then you don't have this balance in the England midfield, and they're never going to get it because they're playing favourites with certain players. And I'm going to show you the real difference of what an international player is in just a Premier League player. I think this is Conor Gallagher here running through, and I'm going to show you that he has no understanding of what to do at this level. Right, so as they're running through here, okay, you've got, let's just look at the space. So you can see where the ball is. He's running with here, he's tracking here. He cannot go anywhere near that ball, because you need to understand that you're defending this area here. The ball can be passed into this area. If you step anywhere near that ball, they're going to go past you into the space. So you are defending that middle of the field there. Why? Because of the stupid system England are doing, and there's no one else further back. So you cannot commit. You cannot go over there and commit. What does he do? Commits. Shouldn't be anywhere near there. Should be further back to about here. Because he doesn't need to be. The guy with the ball is no danger and no threat there, and if he tries to do a cross or a pass, you're close enough where you can get a block in or track the pass. Going a step over for him to run behind you like this is just naive. If you did this at the academy level, I'd be having words with you and pulling you off the field because you don't understand what's really happening, and you've already got the player negated. He's already running down the side, and now he's pulling in the inside of the field, and you just opened up that space because your body shape is wrong. You're too close to him. You're not tracking back properly, and there's no one to cover you in the position here. And there's so many fundamental things wrong, and this is where it comes down to England. It's because this is so important as well, because these first couple of games, right, when you're coming in as a new manager, dictate how things are going to go on forever with your team. Now, I've mentioned it before. I talk about the blue cone treatment and what I would do. If I'm coming into a team within 2 training sessions, if I haven't put someone in hospital or had someone throw up or violently ill, I'm not happy. Because what I'd do is I'd put down a bunch of blue cones and we'd do suicide runs, and I'd find excuses why we're doing them. You didn't do this properly, and then we'd do it. Oh, you didn't touch the cone, we'd do it again. You haven't done that right, and then we do it again. And we just go and 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 go until I break my play, until they don't want to run anymore. And then I go an extra level and I scream and make it go harder and harder and harder and harder and harder. But overrun the session, make it 10 more minutes, longer. Get people late home from so they go home late, and really drill my point that I'm in charge and you do what you're told. And anytime then I can back off and we can have fun and do whatever. But at any moment they start to step over the line, I just start picking blue cones out and put them on the field. And you watch your team, any level, snap into discipline, and everyone's perfect. When you're playing teams like Senegal, you have to show up because they will beat you. They're not an Argentina. They're not a Spain. They're not, a Portugal that are up there. They're one of the best teams in the world. But they're in that sort of next group where you have to show up. And if you're setting out your stall and your standard as England, that you aren't ready to play against Senegal, and the manager's kind of, it's okay, it's all right. It's always going to be okay. It's always going to be all right. And you haven't set the bar there. They're not going to achieve anything. Put your bets on now England aren't going to win the World Cup. Well, it wouldn't be like a, you wouldn't get money odds on it anyway, because they're never going to. But let's just move it on, because I can go on a rant about how you set your team up and what the expectations are going to be for this Muppet clown. After he steps inside, you can see how poor this setup is, because now England have got 2 players and they've got basically 4. And you can say 3, but he's kind of behind the ball and he's going to be challenging anybody from behind. They open up for an opportunity of goal. They don't score, so we'll move it on. So this is Senegal playing themselves into a bad situation. And this is what you'd say. There's certain types of goals. You've got to understand, did they give you the goal or did you score the goal? Well, they've given you the goal. Dribbling in his own third for no reason whatsoever, when he's got a simple pass here, he can get rid of the ball here, he can even go here because there's enough time and space for him, and chooses not to. Going on a bit of a mazy dribble, little bit of loose control there, it's too far to his left hand side, gets a little toe in, and England off they go. Now you can't rely on that trying to of the reason that you score a goal. If you're going, okay, we've got to look at the breakdown of our goal scoring opportunities and look at our goal and how do we create that chance. Well, we didn't create that chance. But it was a high press at the top of the thing. It wasn't really a high press. The guys miscontrolled the ball. And yeah, he was being a bit lazy with it. And that's the problem with modern day statistics and technical analysis. They lie. They'll look at it and they're not honest about it. They'll go, oh yeah, but we're playing a high press and we won the ball back in the final third. All of those things are true. But what's also true, more to the point, is the players lost control of the ball and he didn't pass it when he should have. And they're the only 2 key factors that you really, really need to think about, because those other ones are just padding up your nonsense to try to make you believe that your bad decisions about playing a high press are working. And so you can lead into that false narrative in your mind that this is the right thing to go forward and do when it's just not. So off England go, they nick the ball. And now they're in a good situation. This is quite interesting as well because you can see where the gap is. You can see where the runners are going to go and where the ball's going to end up played. I don't know why you want it over here, running into a defender. I mean, some people's decisions. I want the ball here so I can run into the defender. No, please don't run into the space here. No. Your run is to pull these 2 players away so he can make a run in. Another little sort of mistake from Senegal was they dive in first and the ball goes round him. But you can see how that space originally was there, about there, and it's moved now to about there. As the players have all moved over one, shut down that space, but it still opens up over on the one side just because they've got a lack of discipline in defence. And this happens with a lot of teams that aren't those buttoned up top teams or in that sort of next sort of level. They make just little mistakes every now and again. But they still shouldn't have conceded right here. The ball goes out wide, Bosch has got a shot, and the keeper should have had that. Should have stuck. And he doesn't. He gets it, saves it. I think Harry Kane runs in and taps the ball in. But that goal is a complete and utter gimme for England because Senegal lost the ball, dived in 2-footed, weird tackle, and the keeper should have had it right there. That isn't because England's created a chance, had a dynamic pass of play, something was good, and then they scored. That is worrying. In you go, and then it's a tap into the net box. Speaking about worrying things for how poor this England team is, and I can't stand people going, oh, it was a friendly, yeah, that means you've never ever coached and you've never ever played football. There's no such thing as a friendly, and I'm telling you now, if I can beat you 10-0 in a friendly and you can beat me 10, you'll do it. You put the team out to win. You don't put the team out to try to do a little thing, or no, you don't. You go out to beat people, especially a team where you can be embarrassed by, and this is a team they've been embarrassed by handedly. And I want to show you this. Look, 1, 2, 1, 2. Look at the lack of marking for England, their centre-backs here. This is criminal. If I was the Senegal coach, I would just say, just keep putting balls in the box. They can't defend them. They're high pressing, looking to intercept passes. Just put it over their heads and let them header it in the goal. Look, it's not quite good. Well, it's honestly, it's a decent header. It's not enough power on the cross, so he's got to try to provide it. Can't really get enough power onto it. Still makes the keeper make a decent save. But yeah, it's awful. This is international level, and you've got a guy, not 1, but 2, in the box, unmarked on a cross coming in. And of course, Kyle Walker should never be putting on an England shirt now. Is nowhere near it. So I wouldn't have a Kyle Walker anywhere near my team. If you go back and look at last season when I was saying how poor he was, I think there wasn't at least, I'd say 50, maybe 60% of all Manchester City goals were on his side for his just complete and utter lack of understanding of how to play football. He has been a great athlete, but he cannot play football. And when athleticism is dying down, his pace is going because he can't read the game of football. Now let's have a look. Here's the ball. Can you see it there? It's getting dropped into the channel. We've got a would-be runner and a centre-back's going to track him. What does that mean? Well, we know the centre-back's going to end up about there. You need to be on your bike and back covering for him, and so does he, right? That's what you know that's going to happen. If you're one of these two players here, your mate is going back to win the ball. You've got to get back and support him. Watch Kyle Walker. By the way, I'm not 100% because if you know anything about me, I don't actually look at these clips properly. I just got to go say what I see. Yeah, it doesn't even bother. Look, jog, jog, jog. Now the point of impact, right? He should be here expecting his teammate to win the ball. He can pass and go out the other side. That's what he's expecting. Look at the other guy. Look how much closer he's got back. So you'd expect Kyle Walker to be on the 18-yard line about there because they were both in similar positions, right? Almost identical, in fact. Joggy. Too late. All of a sudden, the ball's now gone. Look at the explosive pace that Kyle Walker no longer has because he's lazy and he can't understand the situation. Why? Because he's always had pace to bail him out of those situations. And you cannot now try to retrain him or try to teach him to identify that space because that's not how his brain's been working for the last 15 years. He's allowed to do that because he's got the pace to catch up. He's allowed to let that gap and be a little bit lazy, and then he'll catch up. Can't catch up anymore. And he doesn't have it up here, so he's never going to. All of a sudden, look at the pace. Remember, this guy's, 3 yards behind him? Gone, straight in, bang, back of the goal. All could have been avoided if Kyle Walker just jogged a little bit harder for the first 3 steps. There we go, just to show you, almost perfectly in line. When the danger happens, when that ball gets dropped in, just complete, well, it's not laziness, he just doesn't understand it. I say it's laziness, but it's not. He just can't read the situation. He can't understand the danger until it's all too late. Actually, I just carried on watching. Watch his head here. Watch his head turn. Watch what he does. He looks at the player, sort of goading him, like, go on then, mate, run. I'll catch you. Go on, run. Oh, too late. Boomf. Gone. And he runs straight past him. Just not good enough. Talking about bad defending, all this guy does is just chip the ball into the channel. Honestly, it's almost a carbon copy of that last little ball into the channel that we saw, where just beating for pace into the corner. And if you've got a Senegalese player running in behind with not a single England player tracking him, close to him, or even understanding what's going on, but you've got 2 stood next to each other, your system is flawed or your players are pants. I would go with both. So, and let's also, okay, he does have a head start. He's not super tasty, but he is okay, pace-wise. Someone should get close to him. No one does. Look at the point where he's taking the shot. Centre-back's nowhere near. Left-back's out front for a picnic, and he just drops it into the net box. Okay, so this is a better angle so we can actually show you what's going on. Right, we can see this is where the gap is. Look at that separation. You've got 1, 2 players sitting in the gap here. Right, they're behind him. This guy's useless. I don't know what you're doing. You need to be sat right there between both of these so you can track the one in front of you and maybe go with the one behind based on what your centre back says. I don't know who you're marking in front of you here, but I'll tell you what, there's no one in front of you for you to mark. But there is a player behind you. And this is what I'm talking about, the lack of understanding at the international. Well, this wouldn't be international level. This would be at the basic level of football. The England players don't have it. Just don't have it. And you can see simply from this, just the positioning here, everything that they're doing is pretty much wrong. Like, what are you doing? There's no need for you to be there, right? You can either tuck in, get close to your teammate, or drift over here, right? That is useless. And I want you tucked in here, right behind it by him, because that gap is way, 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 way too big. It is just so simple. Look, boom, off he goes. And now, look, he starts to go with a run. It's way too late. They genuinely don't know what they're doing. You've got 2 midfielders in here doing nothing. Oh, yeah. This is so poor. Is the handball for England's disallowed goal? Yeah, it's a handball. Yeah, it's an arm. Do I like those ones? No, I really don't like it when it's hitting up here on the, the shoulder to the elbow area. But yeah, letter of the law, it's a handball. So clearly England have pushed up, trying to, it looks like from a set piece here, they're losing the ball. And the only thing I can tell you right now is your system is completely flawed if at the 50, when you're trying to do something, I know you're trying to get the equaliser or doing whatever, and then you don't have quality personnel back that actually play the game of football, you're going to get counterattacked on all the time. So there's fundamental flaws England have is they can be counterattacked on, which you're finding out here. They can be easily exposed with a ball over the top, and if you put a ball in the box, none of the centre backs will be marking them. Great. That's something to look forward to. So I want you to watch Kyle Walker's absolute brain dead defending. What he starts to do here is run away from the ball. Okay? Let's play this. Running away from the ball. Massive, massive problem. He doesn't need to run away from the ball. He was close enough. That line there that he was on is where he probably wanted to be. Not that over there. Okay? And you're going to see why you don't want to do that. He wanted to be close enough, right? So if the guy goes to pass it, he can accelerate into that space there. Okay? That's what he wants to do. His acceleration has to be when the ball is played. That's how he wins the football. All right? So as we move forward here, boom, 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 boom. Look how far he's run away from the football. And you're telling me that this guy's an international football player. He's given him the space there. He's setting himself up, Kyle Walker is, to be beaten. Okay? Now what he's got to do is accelerate towards the ball. What are you going to do if I run towards you full pace and you've got the football? Are you going to pass it to somebody on the other side? Oh, I think you are. That's exactly what you're going to do, and that's exactly what he does here. So as we move this ever so slightly forward, oh, that's a bit too much. Here he goes, and now he starts accelerating like an absolute... I mean, look, I'm going to get the ball! And he just passes it in the space that he's just run from. So, what are you doing? You just run with the guy. You don't run away from him. You just run with him. As he gets close there, you try to squeeze and see what he does and try to push him down the line. And if he goes this way, that's when you accelerate and you try to win the ball. You've opened it up and made it easy for him by running away, so he had space, and then running to him so he could pass it in the space you just came from. Like, I don't know if you could be any worse. You might as well have not been there. Actually, not being there, okay, it's actually, you've actually helped them, because if you weren't there, the player would have had to make the decision. You've helped him make the decision by running at him and showing him where the space is. You've actually made it worse. There we go, and it's in the back of the net box. And England are awful. It's going to be funny next year in the World Cup. Other than that, getting ready for the Club World Cup. I'm going to do some of the games in there because I think some of the games are going to be atrocious. And I'm going to try to cover as many as I can. Other than that, I'll see you next time on Cash Yells at England.